I'm not going to go top. The top 5 ranking is like it's more straightforward. So I'm just going to go favorite if that's cool.
All right, this is what I say to everybody. Like, if they want to do top 5, favorite 5, it's your 5. Like, I don't care. Players when they come on, sometimes they throw themselves in it. Like Carl's like, yeah, I'm in mine for sure. So make it yours, man. That's what it's all about.
All right. Well, number one's pretty straightforward. I literally wrote the book on Carl English. So Carl English, obviously for the Newfoundland ties, him being the first player that I ever interviewed, him meaning so much to the national program throughout the years. Even yeah, sure, he wasn't one of the next NBA players coming out of Canada, but he was the best Canadian player in international basketball for a good chunk of time there. So yeah, this is a Carl English show right now. So Carl English is number one for sure.
For sure.
Okay. 2 would obviously it is hard for someone of my age or probably any age not to have Steve Nash on the list.
Right.
I started watching basketball around 2002, 2003 ish. And it was, right as Steve Nash was about to take off, I got to see him visit with the Suns a handful of times. Maddie, in my job, you don't lose like how much you love basketball and the passion for it and stuff, but relationships change and how you interact with it changes a little bit. I will tell you, Steve Nash is still like the only person I get like nervous around interviewing in basketball. Like I've done the Carl English, like I've talked to Vince Carter now, like players know who Steve Nash would still makes me nervous, man. It's and then obviously just like, I mean, until Shea passes him in a couple years, the best Canadian basketball player of all time. So, so I'll go Jamal Murray as my next one. I know he wasn't a part of these teams this summer, but he is from Kitchener. I grew up in Cambridge. He would have played against my high school on his way up. Obviously, I'm much older, but the 519 representation is important for me there. And honestly, he's also, professionally, he's like the first Canadian guy who I started writing about like as a prep guy, like before he got to Kentucky even. So it's pretty cool from a professional standpoint as well that he's kind of the first like prospect to star guy that I've been kind of along on the ride with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so should give some love to the women's side of the program as well. You could go a lot of different routes here. I'm going to go with Nat Achonwa because we're going to keep it in the Sportsnet family instead of the TSN family. You couldn't go wrong with either. I could have gone East Coast with Bridget as well. I could have thrown it back more, but we'll go with Natalie Achonwa. And then for the last one, I was stretching for a fifth one. Like I thought about, picking a coworker or something like that. Like Sherman, Javon are around a bunch. But if I'm being honest, probably the first Canadian player that I was, checking the Real GM threads about and trying to see the draft stock on. Denham Brown, man, like one of my best friends in high school and the guy who I watched the most basketball with, probably until I was like 30 years old, is a huge UConn fan. So I got to see a lot of Denham Brown. I got to hear endlessly about Denham Brown, the first guy really Canadian, maybe a bit of Juan Mendez in there as well. But like the first guy you're tracking the draft stock of. And, I'm obviously a big G League guy, and he was one of the early G League kind of adopters as well. So no, it didn't quite get there on the NBA side, but deep appreciation for the path and getting to track Denham Brown kind of in my high school and university years.
That's cool, man. I got like